Well, the Hat Tricks are back at the Danbury Ice Arena on the rink, back at work as they prepare to go back to Michigan for a two-game set against the Motor City Rockers. Now we're pleased to be joined by Matt Voity, the Hat Tricks general manager. Matt, thanks for joining me this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Now the Hat Tricks, they're coming off their first weekend sweep of the season. It was 5 goals in each of the 2 games against the Port Huron Prowlers. What are some of the biggest things that you saw that contributed to the success that this team had, particularly with the scoring chances last weekend?
I think we're progressing in being a little more opportunistic. I think, right off the bat on Saturday, we come in 7 seconds and we score a goal. And I think it's probably the fastest goal in any game I've coached in my career. But it just shows where our mentality's at. I think our structure was better. I think our habits were better. We still have to clean some things up. I think when we were able to get a lead, we were able to handle it better than we had in the past. And I think that's a big step for us.
You mentioned the urgency that this team showed in being opportunistic, and Noah Robinson, in just 4 games of being here, he looks like a flash of lightning out there, particularly as he scored on that first shot on goal off the face-off on Saturday. What do you believe he brings to this team that it didn't have before in the first 13 games?
I think just kind of that bull mentality. He's a power forward. He's going to go to the net, put the puck on net, and he's going to do everything hard. And when you have guys like that in your lineup, especially, you want them all over your lineup, but I think especially a guy that can play top 6 like that, it just makes you very dangerous.
So as you have your first winning streak of the year now, how do you think that resonates with the team and gives it the confidence it needs to go and finish the 6-game road trip strong?
Well, I think it really goes back to, I think when we got, after the game on Saturday, kind of looked back at the week, and I think the 7 days, we beat Bingo, and then we had a tight game with Binghamton where, maybe if we have a little more jam early on, that's a game that if we don't win, we certainly get points out of. But we played a good game that night. I think that's the confidence. That's where our confidence is more coming from, is the last 7 days and the work that we've put in since day one. We're progressing, and I think whenever you get a group of people together and they're progressing and getting better every day, your confidence becomes very, very strong.
Yeah, and it seems as if the team is just more cohesive on the ice, maybe not entirely just from practice and the mentality of working harder throughout 60 minutes to win games, preserve leads particularly, but from the off-ice activities as well. It seems as if that hike helped. It seems as if whatever you did to improve the team's morale helped. What are you kind of seeing from that as it results on the ice with the team and its cohesiveness?
I think in the past week or so, maybe even going back a little bit more in 4 games, there's less passengers during the game. Everyone's, and as we said this from day one, everyone's got to lift the weight. Everyone's got to get their hand on the bar and pick it up. They did an exercise actually lifting up a tree as a team, and I think they all saw, everyone's just got to get in, and everyone's got to pull, everyone's got to do their job. And when you get a group of guys buying into that, then you start to get that camaraderie that's even stronger, and the fiber of it becomes stronger and deeper.
How large was the tree and how deep in the wilderness?
It was a pretty big tree. I think we just did it right at a park here in Danbury. So, but it kind of opened guys up. And sometimes you do team stuff like that, and it's like, all right, we did our team thing, and it's whatever. But I think that moment when I saw guys the next day and the way they reflected on it, it really clicked with them. And I think we just have a really good group of guys, like really good humans, really good character. We really enjoy being around each other. So
It seems like that element of sacrifice presents itself a lot when you want to establish leads, but when you also want to break ties, get game-winning goals from those who may have not been around this club for the longest time either, particularly with what Vasilyev accomplished in the first period and those 3 goals and Vasilyev scoring the game winner on Saturday. What kind of energy do you see between not only him, but that Ruski line of Banderkin, Frolov, and Gamzatov as well, that albeit it's relatively young, doesn't have much more than 70 years combined in age, still seems to be providing a lot of good skating numbers?
Yeah, I mean, they've been great for us. They've been very consistent. I think Gleb Banderkin is going to be a special player. Both sides of the ice he excels at, and for a young player that's pretty rare to see. Frolov is just he's a power forward right now. He's going to be an even better power forward as he learns more. And Gamer's got some more veteran experience than those two guys, and he's kind of the elder statesman there that keeps things kind of straight and calm. And I just so much to say. And then Vasi, I think he's going to get his feet under him. He didn't play a lot before we got him. I think he had a month. He was in the Netherlands, and I think he had a month off. And he's still kind of getting his legs under him a little bit. But I think when he does, I think you see the skating ability and the stick skill that he has. It's going to translate into a lot for us.
When did you realize that particular line, in addition to Vasilyev, even though he just arrived 3 games ago, could blend together or particularly generate a lot of scoring chances themselves with the skills they have?
Van Durken's line?
Yes.
I think we ended up putting it together. I don't know if we did it. I'm trying to remember when we did it. We didn't think much of it. We just put them together because they're Russians. And we were like, why not? So I think right off the bat, when I saw the way Gleb played, and not to take anything away from Fro or Gams, they've been great. And Gams right off the bat, right away, provided a lot for us, and so did Fro. But when I think you have, the centerman on the line is very key because he's got to really play 200 feet. And seeing Gleb be able to play the defensive side, seeing him just be hard to play against in terms of coming up from behind a guy, stripping the puck and going the other way. It's like, wow, okay, these guys they're not just looking to go one way. They're looking to work for it and do the right things the right way to get a goal.
Speaking of doing things the right way, this team has scored on the power play in each of the last 3 games after a bit of a 7-game drought there where I believe only 2 goals have been scored on the man advantage over that stretch. How encouraging is it to see that finally come to life again and begin to redevelop as you get away from the bigger juggernauts in the division and Binghamton and Watertown going into Port Huron and then also Motor City this weekend?
Well, it's huge. I think special teams is about confidence. I think when you have confidence, your special teams are good. Sometimes you gotta get that confidence one way or another, right? You gotta find it. I think it's important for us. I think specialty teams really make a difference in a team's success or any team's success because it's an X factor. It can change the momentum of a game in a split second. And with any specialty teams, you're going to have peaks and valleys with it. Sometimes you're really good, other times you'll have a drought. I think having that drought and coming out of it, especially early on in the season, is going to translate well later on for us.
Now, going over to the goalies as well, you look at Connor McCollum. He's made 30 saves in 7 of his first 11 starts. He picks up another critical win in Port Huron on Saturday. But then you also have Frankie McClendon, who got a key win the night before that. What do you believe that Frankie has been able to learn from Connor, especially the FPHL's win leader last season going into this year?
I think Frankie. I think the relationship between those two is so good that they want to see each other play well, and I think all 3 goalies want to see each other play well, and I think that translates a lot more onto the ice than maybe someone from the outside looking in realizes. Their styles are different. Frankie's a little more. I don't want to say MC's not structured. He is. He's just a little more athletic than Frankie in terms of moving around the crease and how he makes saves. And I think maybe that's what Frankie takes away is when I was much younger, one of my friends said, there's a very, you have your very structured goalies, which is kind of like classical music. And then you have your kind of guys who are out of control. Like think, John Quick when he was younger, and that's kind of like your rap. And you want to be able to combine both of them, right? And that's, if you can do that, if you can have good technique and then be able to break technique when you need to, you're going to be a very successful goalie. And I think MC has kind of both going on when he's on top of his game. And I think Frankie's starting to add some of that break technique, rap, if you will, aspect into his game. But I think a lot more of it is just their relationship and, the relationship of all 3 goalies with each other and how supportive they are.
I think one attribute that's been key for MC, just from what I've seen, what I've heard Johnny say as well, is just having that short-term memory as an attribute for MC to bounce back in the net after losses, whether they're heartbreakers in overtime or they're multi-goal losses as well. How do you believe he's been able to show others the importance of making adjustments going from start to start this year?
Well, I think when your goalie is cool and calm and not overreactive, I think it just spreads throughout the team. You know, you don't have to talk about it. It's just, you just see it, right? Like, goal goes in and his shoulders are back. He's not drooping. He's not sagging. You know, his performance doesn't change based on that. I think it quietly helps the rest of the team out.
Big opportunity for you guys this weekend to go and take two from Motor City that is yet to win. What do you believe is going to be the most integral key to establishing leads early on? Of course, scoring on the power play could be one of them, but other keys as well when it comes to taking 6 points on the road.
Well, I think, you know, coming out with urgency in all the games for sure. I think when we come out with that kind of urgency, I think you look back at our games, you know, we're winning that game. So coming out, you know, ready to play on time. Being opportunistic when we can be on the power play for sure, taking advantage of their mistakes. And I think when we get the lead, just being smart with the puck, you know, realizing we don't have to take as many chances. Not to say we need to go into a shell. I don't ever want that, but we need to make sure we're getting that puck 200 feet away from our net. We're going to work on the defenseman, or we're engaging our forecheck, and we're just being hard to play against.
You mentioned engaging the forecheck and also just showing up on time, ready to play, committed mentally to establishing leads, everything that you can control as a hockey club. When you look at what Kyle and Johnny have established for the culture of this hockey club in the first 14 games, what are some of the bigger things that you have noticed when it comes to their approach as they've picked up from Billy after he left last season?
I think, you know, just having some accountability, or having a fair level of accountability. It doesn't mean, well, I'm going to hold you accountable, but not him or myself, right? And they have to hold themselves accountable. And I think when they do that, whether it's in a film session or in a team meeting, I think it goes a long way to helping the younger guys and the newer guys, you know, feel more comfortable and at ease in the locker room.
Yeah, it seems like everybody seemed to bought into this kind of program where everybody's accountable, everybody wants to take advantage of bettering themselves from their mistakes as well. When you look at Motor City, it's a team you haven't played since the opening series this season. How do you think it goes, or the adjustment process is like, moving from Port Huron, still on the road, final 6 games, or final 2 games of a 6-game stretch rather, to play this team when you need to get those wins?
Well, Motor City's they've got a little bit of a different roster than when we saw them a month and a half ago. So it's, you know, watching them on film, I think, you know, the adjustments we have to make, you know, we've already talked about it. We've implemented them on the ice. So it's really just going to be our mentality coming into the weekend that's going to determine our success.
Coach, thanks for your time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.